film begins by introducing a woman named Ina Jidamame, a debt collector struggling with a bitter irony that she is also burdened with a debt of 500,000 baht. To meet her monthly repayments for 5 years, Ina lives frugally and seeks additional income by becoming a YouTuber. Despite the hardships, Ina remains determined that one day she will clear her debt. One morning, after getting ready, Ina heads to the office. While attempting to collect overdue payments from her former teacher, Ms. Nong Nuch, an unknown number calls her phone. At the same time, Ms. Nong Nuch seizes the moment to escape, unable to pay her debt. The caller then introduces himself as Tower Supapaisa, claiming to be from the tax office. Tower explains that INA's YouTube video discussing her debt has gone viral and offers her a government relief program of 55,000 baht to help settle her debt. However, to qualify, Ina must first pay a tax of 5,500 baht. Initially skeptical, Ina hesitates, but when Tower transfers 550 baht as proof of his legitimacy, she begins to trust him. Without much thought, Ina rushes to the ATM. However, upon noticing the recipient's name listed under a personal account, Ina quickly realizes it's a scam. She immediately records her conversation with Tower and asks a friend at the bank to trace the account number. Soon after, her suspicions are confirmed. With a firm and threatening tone, Ina confronts Tower about his scheme and warns him she will report their recorded conversation to the police. Tower panics, but Ina hangs up, satisfied with having scolded him. Shortly after, Tower calls back, pleading with her to delete the recording and offering to do anything to avoid legal trouble. Hearing his desperation, Ina proposes a condition. The next day, during their meeting, Ina tells Tower that if he wants the recording erased, he must help her collect debts. She explains that her debt originated from her ex-boyfriend, Pech. Previously, while working at a bank, Ina was charmed by Pech, who claimed to be a final-year university student. Not long after, Ina takes Tower to Pech's office, but, being unfamiliar with him, decides to take a bus while Tower follows in his vehicle. During the ride, Ina continues her story over the phone. When they were dating, she catered to almost all of Pech's needs, including taking out a 500,000 baht loan for his tuition fees. However, once he got the money, Ina discovered that Pech had deceived her and was not a student. Despite reporting him to the police, her case was dismissed due to insufficient evidence, leaving Pech free to walk away without consequences. Arriving at a travel agency, Ina points out Pech's workplace and explains how he charmed the company owner, quickly rising to the position of manager. While she is still explaining, Pech suddenly appears. Inside the car, after observing Pech from a distance, Tower expressed his willingness to help, provided that Ina deleted the recording she had. Ina agreed to the condition and immediately erased the recording. Tower then confidently remarked that Ina had sought help from the right person, revealing his unique skill in reading lips from afar. Intrigued by his claim, Ina asked for proof to ensure he wasn't bluffing. After dropping Ina off at home, Tower arranged a meeting for the next day at a custom t-shirt printing shop to discuss their next steps. The following day, Tower laid out his plan, explaining that to outwit a scammer like Pech, they needed to use similar tactics. The plan was straightforward. They would pose as clients looking to book travel services through Pech's office. The goal was to trick Pech into arranging a booking for 30 hotel rooms and then have the payment transferred to their account, marking the mission as successful. After explaining the strategy, Tower began printing shirts to use as disguises. The next day, armed with information about Pech's preferred hotels, Tower and Ina disguised themselves as travel agents sent by Pech's office. They arranged a meeting with a hotel manager named Sam. During the meeting, Tower initiated the negotiation process. Once the negotiations concluded, Tower offered Sam a free vacation package to Russia for a week to ensure he wouldn't interfere with their plan. Enthusiastically, Sam accepted the offer. Outside the hotel, Ina questioned why her money was being used to cover Sam's trip expenses. Tower reassured her, explaining that the investment would yield greater returns. He also mentioned that their mission couldn't succeed with just the two of them. They needed a team of 4. Reluctantly, Ina agreed to move forward with the plan. The next day, recognizing Pech's reputation for charming women, Tower and Ina decided to recruit Ms. Nong Nuch, who happened to be in need of money. At their meeting at a school, Tower outlined the plan. Apparently, Ms. Nong-Nuch would pose as the director of a company interested in using Petch's travel services. If Petch fell for the bait, they could secure the funds they were after. With the plan finalized, Tower began arranging a meeting with Petch. A few days later, the team assembled at a prominent corporate building. In the basement, Tower reminded them they only had 6 days before Sam returned from Russia. As a result, they quickly made their way to the lobby to meet Petch. In the lobby, with an air of sophistication, Ms. Nong-Nuch approached Petch, introducing herself as a company director. Exuding confidence and creating the impression that everyone in the building respected her, Ms. Nong-Nuch began discussing plans for a corporate tour that required booking 30 luxury hotel rooms. The plan started smoothly, but when Ms. Nong-Nuch accidentally bumped into a passing man, tension arose. The man turned out to be an employee of the building who didn't recognize Ms. Nong-Nuch. Quickly thinking on her feet, Ms. Nong-Nuch feigned anger, intimidating the man and reinforcing Petch's belief that she was a genuine director. From a distance, Tower signaled Ina to create a distraction while he switched Sam's phone number in Petch's contact list with his own. Nervous but determined, Ina stalled for time as Tower searched for Sam's contact. When the phone locked due to inactivity, Tower urged her to buy more time. Fortunately, he managed to replace the number just before returning the phone, although Petch had already sat back down. With the number successfully swapped, all they had to do was wait for Petch to book the hotel rooms as planned. In the basement, Tower noticed Ina crying alone over the earlier incident. Feeling sympathetic, he approached to comfort her, but Ina only cried harder. Realizing her pants had ripped, Tower handed her some tape to patch it up while offering words of encouragement. At that moment, he reminded her that their journey was far from over, urging her to stay strong. Not only that, Tower also reassured her that once their plan succeeded, it would be Petch who would cry. Touched by his kindness, Ina began to feel a connection with Tower. That evening, while the two were at a small diner, Ina asked if Tower had a girlfriend. Tower casually replied that he wasn't interested in dating, believing relationships were often built on lies and deception. His words made Ina reflect on her past mistakes with Petch. Sensing her unease, Tower consoled her, saying that she wasn't foolish. She had simply chosen the wrong person. He added that if she met the right man, happiness would come her way. Unexpectedly, the conversation deepened their bond. The next day, Tower brought in the fourth team member, his older brother, Mr. Joan, who worked as a hotel marketing specialist. The following morning, Mr. Joan, dressed in a sharp marketing outfit, visited Petch's office. Upon seeing the total cost of 3.6 million baht, Petch tried to negotiate it down to 2.7 million baht. As a result, a tense back and forth ensued. Pretending to call his boss for approval, Mr. Joan added a layer of authenticity to their charade. Ultimately, Mr. Joan offered a discount of 3 million baht if Petch paid in cash, which Petch reluctantly agreed to. That evening, the 4 team members gathered to finalize their next steps, where the payment process became their primary focus. Over the phone, Petch informed Ms. Nong-Nuch of the total cost, to which she countered that payment should be made after the event to avoid scams. Petch, however, insisted that the hotel required full payment up front. Changing tactics, Ms. Nong-Nuch persuaded Petch to pay first, promising reimbursement with an additional bonus after the event. Eventually, Petch agreed. The next day, the team rented a hotel room as their temporary base of operations. While discussing their progress, Tower received shocking news that Sam was returning to Thailand earlier than expected because his girlfriend had been bitten by a dog. The news threw the team into a panic. Tower and Mr. Joan quickly prepared to head to Petch's office. Before they left, Ina made Tower promise that if they succeeded in retrieving the money, they would celebrate with a romantic dinner at a luxurious restaurant. Smiling, Tower agreed. Upon arriving at the office, Mr. Joan handed over the payment invoice to Petch. However, Petch only gave 1 million baht, promising to pay the remaining amount later. Although disappointed, Mr. Joan reluctantly accepted the arrangement. Outside the office, Tower felt defeated, realizing their plan wasn't going as expected. With a heavy heart, he split the money with Mr. Joan and decided to leave, intending to abandon Ina. The next morning, Tower returned to their base, guilt-ridden. Seeing Ina visibly upset, Tower remained silent. Unable to hold back her emotions, Ina cried and expressed how foolish she felt for constantly being deceived by men. Once she calmed down, Tower apologized and explained everything. He assured Ina that he wouldn't leave and proposed a new plan. Tower suggested convincing Petch to buy an expensive sports car. He also promised to ask Mr. Jones to return the money he had taken. The goal remained the same, to collect 3 million baht, which would be split equally if they succeeded. After hearing his explanation, Ina agreed but insisted that she would handle the money this time. The following day, in a warehouse, the team finalized their preparations, including arranging a rented sports car and devising their strategy. Soon after, Ms. Nong Nutch invited Petch to meet them, while Tower disguised himself as the car's salesperson. During the meeting, Ms. Nong Nutch casually mentioned that her company event was still a few days away, giving her free time to explore investments. She then pitched the idea of buying the latest sports car for 4 million baht, suggesting they split the cost, 2 million baht each, since the car's value was expected to rise to 6 million baht the following year. Petch showed interest but decided to call his boss for approval. When his boss refused, Petch backed out of the deal. Disheartened, Ms. Nong Nutch and Tower left to pick up Ina and discuss their next move. Unbeknownst to them, Petch secretly followed their car. Midway through the journey, Sam called Petch. When Petch inquired about the 30 hotel rooms he had supposedly booked, Sam denied any knowledge of it. Realizing he had been tricked, Petch continued tailing Tower's car until they stopped at a restaurant. Not long after, at the restaurant, while Ina was alone, Petch approached her. He revealed that he knew everything about their scheme. Surprisingly, instead of being angry, Petch apologized for his past actions, admitting they had pushed Ina into such a fraudulent circle. He pleaded for her help in retrieving the 1 million baht he had paid Ms. Nong Nutch, promising to split the money with her. Using his charm, Petch also confessed that he didn't truly love his boss and was only exploiting her wealth. He even vowed that if their plan succeeded, he would leave his boss and return to Ina. Swayed by his words, Ina eventually softened. Together, they devised a strategy. Petch then withdrew 2 million baht from his company's funds and returned to meet Tower and Ms. Nong Nutch, pretending he had changed his mind and agreed to contribute 2 million baht toward the sports car investment. As the transaction took place, Tower unsuspectingly counted the money handed over by Petch. Following their agreement, the bag of money was entrusted to Ina, who claimed she needed to deposit it at the bank first. However, upon arriving at the bank, Ina found Petch already waiting for her. Without hesitation, she handed the bag to Petch and followed him to the parking lot. After placing the bag in his car, Petch suddenly locked the doors. With a sinister laugh, he expressed his gratitude. Thanks to her foolishness, Petch boasted that he had scored a major win. The 1 million baht he had paid for the hotel booking was back in his hands, along with the 2 million baht meant for the sports car purchase. In the end, Petch declared that women in love were easy to deceive, comparing Ina to his boss, who had also fallen for his empty flattery. Unexpectedly, Ina began laughing in return. With a triumphant tone, she revealed that Petch was the one who had been tricked. Ina confessed that she had pretended to betray Tower to trick Petch into coughing up the 2 million baht. Moreover, Ina disclosed that everything Petch had said was recorded, ready to expose his deceit. Shocked, Petch was left speechless as Ina smugly snapped a photo of his stunned expression. Panicking, Petch checked the contents of the bag, only to discover it was filled with counterfeit money. As Ina walked away, Petch's phone rang and it was his boss. Furious, she informed him that she had received an audio recording of his incriminating words. Disappointed and enraged, she ordered him to return the car, the money, and all the luxury items she had given him. Frustrated by the unraveling situation, Petch slammed his car, door shut in anger, only to crush his fingers, leaving him with a broken hand. Meanwhile, Ina regrouped with Tower and Ms. Nong Nutch. The three burst into laughter as they looked at the photo of Petch's shocked face. After dividing the proceeds evenly, the team officially disbanded. Ms. Nong Nutch decided to return to teaching, while Tower and Mr. Jones resolved to leave their scamming days behind and start a legitimate business. On the way home, Tower noticed Ina's bright smile and felt a sense of happiness himself. However, he gently reminded Ina that despite their closeness, He had no intention of pursuing a romantic relationship. A year later, as the COVID-19 pandemic gripped Thailand, Ina and Tower lost contact. One morning, while at work, Ina was startled to see Tower's name on a client list. Feeling a sense of longing, she decided to call him. During their conversation, Tower admitted that he missed her. Playfully, he asked if Ina had found a boyfriend and joked that he might consider dating her if she was still single. Hearing this, Ina burst into laughter. Moral lesson from the story: if life gives you debt, turn it into a side hustle and outscam the scammers while you're at it. And remember, love is great, but revenge with a side of counterfeit cash is way more satisfying.